Hard hat's all about showing up to play hard, doing what it takes to win.
If you want to cement legacy, win another.
He's your third center.
You don't want to pump him up too much, but it's hard not to.
This is maybe the most I've ever agreed with you.
Here we go, Amit. All right, everybody, welcome in. Celtics with a 118-115 win over the Minnesota Timberwolves. No longer Sherrod's Timber Puppies. They've grown up.
But Timber Puppies have grown up, Jimmy.
Kind of. They're barely. I mean, they're kind of floundering around 500 here right now. But they are not the Timber Puppies of years past. They are a formidable opponent. And the Celtics. You know what? Somebody just asked me a question.
Where's your hard hat? Yep.
Here's a hard hat.
I was thinking.
It's a hard hat game.
I thought maybe
it's a hard hat game.
Not a hard hat.
I think it was.
Maybe a winter.
It's a hard hat win.
That Bobby's rocking.
Yeah, it was cold up there. They're saying what, -4 on the broadcast?
Yeah.
Daniel, shout out Daniel. He knew it was a hard hat game. He kept me on my P's and Q's. This was a hard fought game for the Celtics on the road. They got some great performances tonight. We'll get into it. We're gonna get some great performances too. We got Noa all the way from Houston, who's joining us on the show. She's going to stick around for about 30 minutes, and she's going to go do like all this fun stuff in Houston, I think. We got Bobby, who I think hasn't paid his heat bill, so he's hanging out with us. And then Sherrod as well. What's up, Sherrod?
You don't have anything for Sherrod? You're just going to roast us?
Nah, Sherrod's the OG, man. We go.
That's my guy.
I've already said I have nothing else to say to Sherrod that I haven't already
Exactly. Me and Jimmy have had our battles, so we're good.
We have. I will say that I thought he had the hard hat on too when we started the show, but he didn't. It was just him. But other than that, we'll get into it. Nice win for the Celtics here. They've obviously December was up and down to say the least. Ended on a high note with that drubbing of Bobby's Raptors. He actually was a little worried about that game going in. Turned out to not be much to worry about. But then they go on the road. You guys talked about it prior to them hitting the road, that how important this road trip is for them. A team that kind of could probably use time away, maybe from distractions of being home, and just get out there together on the road and just figure out what it is you got and go with it. And so good start to the trip, 118-115, hard fought. They shoot 50% from the field, just under 40% from three. A lot of threes tonight, not a surprise. And a couple of big ones down the stretch, whether it was Derrick White off the backboard, Tatum with another one. Just some big shots down the stretch. And Bobby, we'll start with you. Just, your opening thoughts on this game and this win.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I wanted them to win this one pretty badly. The Wolves pushed back against them throughout it. You had the ice cold start for both teams there, launching threes in the opening minutes. And I think they adjusted pretty well. They got Horford a couple looks inside in that early going. Great performances up and down the lineup, I thought. Sam Hauser and Kada in that second quarter. They needed Tatum at his best in this one as well to be able to counteract all the performances the Wolves had from their role players on the other side. And he was at his best. I don't know what it is about him in the road right now, but these last handful of road games he's played, he's been at that top 5 Tatum level that Sherrod talks about here. And, Pritchard coming in, nice boost from him. Holiday continuing to get his 3-point shot back. I think Hauser starting a bit of a tear here. I think there's a lot of performances up and down the lineup to like out of this one, and more Jordan Walsh minutes as well, even if they weren't super consequential. I thought they were decent. So I thought the Wolves gave you a really tough game right up until the final possession. Obviously there, Edwards got a pretty good look. A bizarre game from Edwards. I don't know what was up with that. I don't think that was too much of what the Celtics did here. He was just completely out of this one for most of the night, including that last shot. So you got that break, but other guys were rolling on that side. You used to Reed lighting you up, and some of the other guys on that side there. It's a tough matchup. It feels like every game that these two play goes down to the last shot. And the Celtics got him again. A great win, I think, here.
Yeah, Noah, you got anything to add? You want to watching on the hotel TV? Did you get a chance to focus on this one?
I did. It was just I had to watch it on TNT, which I haven't watched anything on TNT in so long. that I could not believe that the whole halftime show was complaining about the Celtics offense, which looked really good in the second quarter. But
I think they already came in with that, no, regardless of what was going to happen.
Yeah, but they're showing highlight plays. They were breaking down plays of like what went wrong, and they were all resulting in made baskets. I was like, cut the clip before I see Pritchard hit the three before you're gonna break down what went wrong. But in any case,
I will
thought
say
this was a great win.
NBC was trying to say White should be an all-star over LaMelo. So you get both.
Well, that's their job. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Well, LaMelo's fans showed out. So, in any case, I thought this was a huge win for the Celtics. This was a great game. I felt like just both teams honestly played well. So, it wasn't like, I think sometimes we watch through such a Celtics lens that it's hard to evaluate how the other team performed. But they had some guys really step up there. Obviously, Anthony Edwards was not his best self. But some encouraging things. I love to see, Sam Hauser find a rhythm. We've talked about how important he is. I thought he was also moving better defensively. I'm not sure if that's a back development or it's the confidence of having hit 5 threes. Derrick White feels like Derrick White, from last season as far as the shot confidence looked. Mm-hmm. So many big plays down the stretch. Those back-to-back threes I thought were so critical. And this was a Tatum MVP game. That's kind of how I take this one. He just impacted every aspect of the game. And sometimes it takes some guys being out to just show how important he was. In that fourth quarter, in the beginning without him, they were lost. Like they really needed him back. And he was huge defensively, offensively, shooting. Third quarter, it's back-to-back third quarters where he's just kind of took over the game and just made a huge impact. So a lot to like. And I think just the fact that they're able to bounce back from a really tough stretch with, starting the road trip off. It's not going to get any easier. They have Houston tomorrow and more tough games coming up, but this was a great way to start.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're Minnesota, you're walking away from this game and you're asking yourself, what the hell just happened? Because when you look at what they did, I mean, think about this. You're playing the defending NBA champion at home. You shoot 50% from the field, better than 50% from three-point range, better than 90% from the free throw line. You had a 50-50-90 game as a team at home, and you lose. And if you're Minnesota, you're thinking, what more could we have possibly done? Now, obviously, turnovers were a big part of this game. I mean, when you look at the shooting numbers that Minnesota had, how you figure, how do they lose a game like this? Turnovers. They simply did not take care of the ball. Anthony Edwards did not have an Anthony Edwards kind of game. And Bobby, this is one of the few times, Bobby, where you and I are going to have to agree to disagree. I thought the Celtics defense was pretty damn good on him. I thought that they kept a body in front of him consistently. Mm-hmm. He was not able to get to the spots that he's used to. And I thought he forced more shots than he normally does, and he just wasn't able to get going. And part of the reason why I think he struggles so much, and we talked about this previously, the domino effect that occurs when you have Jrue Holiday back in the lineup. It allows everyone to defend at a much higher level. It allows everyone to be a better help defender because you've got multiple guys now who can guard their yard with him and Derrick White. And it makes everything about this team flow so much more fluidly and seamless and dominant. I mean, think about it. This Celtics, when we look at what they did against Toronto, you're just saying, well, it's Toronto. You're supposed to do that against Toronto. But when you basically do essentially the same stuff you did against a crappy team, against a really good team on the road, a team that always plays you tough, it speaks to how the Celtics are slowly but surely getting not necessarily back to where they were last year, but back to the team they have to be this year in order to repeat as champions. And this was a really good win for them.
What's up? I'm just looking at the stats here. What's up with 6 free throw attempts tonight for the Celtics? Only 6 free throw attempts. And I know they took 57 threes. So when you're taking that many threes, obviously that's going to have something to do with
57 threes, no free throw attempts. Yeah.
Exactly. Noah thinks it was a bad whistle.
I think Keita got hacked down the stretch a couple times.
Keita was getting absolutely.
He was getting mauled out there.
You know what?
I know.
He couldn't believe. He wasn't even complaining. He just got up from the pile. It's like, what's going on?
and that's what you're supposed to do. To me, Keita was like the low key.
Keita was awesome in this one.
So let's talk about Keita for a minute because this is a guy. And again, Jrue Holiday back in the lineup. Good to see him. Affecting on the defensive end. You had Hauser.
Basket.
What's that?
That play under the basket. There was just like a pile of bodies.
That play was nuts. You had Hauser that was finding his shot again, which is nice to see. Plus minus was still off for him. I think, defensively.
-10.
Yeah. Was it only 10? I thought it was even worse than that. But
No worse.
regardless,
they were going at him a little bit, but he had decent minutes.
They were, and again, you just want to see that shot start to fall for him, and it was tonight. So again, 15 points right there, 5 of 11 from 3. Noah talks about it when he can get looks. That means the ball is typically moving around. So there's probably some of that going on tonight. But that was my segue into another guy that you see in the lineup again that has been out of it, not so much due to injury, but just coach's decision in Keita. And, matchup based, apparently. Minnesota's a physical team. They've got some big dudes down there, obviously, that can block shots, that can dunk, that can rip down boards. And the Celtics went with Keita to try to combat some of that. And he answered the bell. And I really want to see him in there more often. And I know there are going to be some games where maybe he shouldn't be, right? But I think more often than not, Keita's answered the bell for them. And I think he stepped up immensely defensively. He's able to switch a lot better on guys now than we've seen in the past and extend. He's not a liability by any stretch out there. And tonight, 8 points, again, not out there for offense, but a plus 17 in 22 minutes. And he'd probably have more points if maybe he got a couple whistles, but just active as hell out there.
Keita was great. I mean, and that's, but I'm gonna have to disagree with you on this one, Jimmy. I like the way that Joe is using him because Keita to me is not.
They don't use him.
Let me finish, Jimmy. Let me finish. Homeschooling does not teach you patience.
Do I have to raise my hand?
No, what Keita does when he does play, he plays well. But there's stretches when he's out there where he's just not as impactful. He hasn't developed the kind of consistency that makes you confident he can give you that night in, night out. And give Luke Cornett his credit. I know first time someone has mentioned Luke's name who's not named Bobby Manning. I know. Luke,
you knew it was coming.
You knew it was coming. Luke is still a viable option for them at the center position, to the point where I think it has to be a case-by-case basis between those two, because I don't think either one of them has done enough to separate themselves to where that's my guy and the other one is my definitive third center.
Mm-hmm. Any Keita love for Bobby and Noah?
I mean, I thought he was maybe the difference in this game. Like, they really needed somebody to bang down low. And when he checked in the first quarter, second quarter? Right away, I was like, okay, this is going to be a Keita night. And it almost feels, I don't know if it's fair to say, but I feel like I can tell if it's going to be a Keita night or not, like 2 possessions into the game. And if it is, he could really impact the game. And I think part of it is matchup. Sometimes I feel like his timing and his instincts are just better. But this was a great matchup for him. And, if he can impact 10 games like this during the regular season, I think that's a win. Because I don't know if they win this game without him. I mean, hopefully they do, but I think that he had that much of an impact. And Joe talked about it last year by the playoffs, that there was a couple of games on that West Coast road trip earlier in the season that Keita actually had a huge impact. I think it was versus LA on Christmas. That was one of them. And he talked about it in the playoffs. Like, he might not have played for 4 months, but like that stretch, we really needed him. And he knows that. And I think it's just good for morale too, for guys to know that they had a real substantial impact on games. Even if it means that now he's not going to play for 5 games, like this game was enough to kind of keep you engaged, to know you have that opportunity, and everybody's kind of getting their chance. And tonight was definitely his night. He looked, this was more of a Keita matchup than a Luke matchup.
Yeah, and he's in a tough spot because he's probably their 9th best player, but he's their 4th best center. So
4th?
He's their 9th best player.
So a lot of times there just aren't minutes for him because he and Luke can't play together. They tried it against Memphis and it didn't go great. So I like the fact that you can go to both of them in different spots. Again, it's not like Luke started this game poorly, but you needed some rim protection. You needed just a presence and athleticism inside that he gave them. And like Noah said, the fact that he got involved so quickly there, the offensive rebound start the second that got Hauser, I think his first 3. Another play inside right after that alongside Horford, and that combination's a great look for them, Al and Keita out there together. So this is just an awesome game for him. I think he was the difference in the game too. There was one rebound where he just completely swallowed the ball up in there. I think got Pritchard to make right after that. And this was such a tight game, Jimmy, for so much of it. Like every offensive rebound, every loose ball, every extra possession, the lobs he caught were important baskets too. You could probably rattle off a good 8 plays in this game that he tilted things in their direction. And that's what he does. He just makes stuff happen out there, even if it's not a play that completely goes in Boston's favor.
Right.
He puts a stress on a defense, especially with the offensive rebounding out there. And this little stretch going into this, Jimmy, where they haven't played him, I feel like they've really missed obviously his offensive rebounding, but Holiday's as well. And Holiday was great in this one too. I think he deserves a lot of mention that we've given him already.
Kata and Holiday are the two most physical players. I mean, if we're being honest and candid about
it is a physical Minnesota team, right?
And you're gonna, I mean, and I think Joe Mazzulla has a pretty good pulse for those games where physicality has to be something that his team has to bring to the forefront to be successful. Against a team like Minnesota, you absolutely have to bring that. Otherwise, they will absolutely beat the crap out of you. But there's some other teams where you can be more finesse than force and still win. And those are the games where a Luke, for example, would be a better fit than Kata in those instances.
Yeah, and I mean, it's no coincidence that we've been kind of talking about over the last week or so that they haven't looked tough, right? They haven't looked physical like they need to be. And that does coincide with both Holiday and Kata not really being in that lineup. Holiday's been in and out. Kata's kind of been watching. So perhaps that is a little change that Joe decided, at least on the Kata side of things, to instill some attitude in this team a little bit, because even when Kata is getting hacked out there, he's still running up and down that court. He's still putting bodies on guys. And, I mean, it's not to say that he prevented Minnesota from being physical. Minnesota was throwing down dunks and doing what they do as well. But we're able, if you're Kata, you're able to say we can match it a little bit, right? And especially on a night where Jaylen Brown is out of this game, and he's a player that you can lean on more than other guys to be a little bit more physical, to drive to the paint, to throw down. And so without him in this lineup tonight, certainly having Kata in there to give a little bit more physicality can definitely do wonders. The other big difference in this game was, and I think you mentioned it, Sherrod, the turnovers in this one. The Celtics were able to just play tenacious defensively, cause Minnesota to turn the ball over a lot. And I think the difference in points off turnovers was pretty substantial. I have it here. It's 22-4. So in a game that was so close in a lot of categories, that's one that really stands out, the points off the turnovers. And I'm sure that's what they're going to be harping on over in Minnesota's locker room, is just not protecting the ball and allowing the Celtics to have those multiple. When you give a team those additional opportunities to score, a team that can already outscore you with equal opportunity, you're giving them all those. I mean, you're talking 92 field goal attempts to 74. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're giving almost 20 additional field goals to the Celtics, a team that's going to more nights than not beat you in the 3-point category. So it's kind of amazing that the game was even this close points wise, but obviously it swung with free throws. So that's going to swing the field goal attempts there, obviously. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is you give the Celtics those many additional opportunities, it could come back to bite you in the end.
It was. And again, I think a lot of those turnovers that they were able to get out and score off of had a lot to do with them just leveling up their overall physicality. I mean, Minnesota is a big team. And when you think about Julius Randle, you think about, Gobert in the middle, you think about McDaniels and then Anthony Edwards, they like to get up in you. And the Celtics, to their credit, sent some of that back at them. I mean, they made sure Minnesota didn't treat them as if their name was Tyler Hero and just throw them around like a rag doll. That wasn't happening at all. And so I think this was one of those games where the Celtics, like I said, I think they came into this game not only expecting it to be more physical, but planning to bring the physicality to Minnesota more so than they do against a lot of opponents. And that's the mindset, that's typically, kind of what Noah was alluding to earlier. That's kind of a Kata kind of game. That's kind of a Drew Holiday kind of game where those guys are going to be a major factor in the game's outcome. And I think tonight was definitely one of those games for the Celtics.
Yeah, and I think honestly, sorry.
No, that's okay. You're good.
I was going to say, I think Derrick White was one of the, if we're talking about keys to the game here, I think Kata was one, but Derrick White, I feel like I have these moments where I see something and I'm like, okay, it highlights how that thing has been absent. Like, so sometimes you see the Celtics offense and you're like, okay, that we really haven't seen that in a couple of weeks. Tonight down the stretch, like he had 13 points in the fourth quarter. There was a significant portion of last year where I felt like he was the best offensive player in the fourth quarter. And if anybody was going to have the ball in their hand down the stretch, I wanted it to be Derrick White. And we were all talking about it, right?
Yep.
And, this year it hasn't really been the case. I think that especially as of late, he's been a little bit less confident. He's been struggling a little bit with the shot. But, he had 13 in that fourth. And nobody else had, even near that. He had 2 blocks, 2 charges. I don't remember the last time I saw someone take a charge on the Celtics. And he had 2 really clean, solid ones tonight. Mm-hmm. So if he can start stringing together these types of efforts, which I think he can because he is such a rhythm player, like that's what, walking away from this game, like that's a great sign heading into this rest of this road trip, especially with them being down players, because he kind of needs to be a star on nights where Jaylen Brown and Porzingis are out. Because suddenly you're thinking like, where are all these points going to come from? And so I thought he was also huge in this one.
Massive. I mean, 26 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 10 of 20 from the floor, 5 of 10 from 3. I mean, just awesome numbers. All-star level numbers. I know Bobby doesn't think he should make the team anymore. He thinks LaMelo Ball should make it over White, which is sad. But a lot of Celtics fans know what Derrick White brings to the table. The circus 3 aside, he was having an unbelievable night. But that was just the icing on top off the backboard. Put him up. I think that put him up 8. And then Anthony Edwards went down on the other end and botched a pretty easy layup, made a move to the rim, and that would have cut it to 6. But unfortunately for them, they missed a shot. But Derrick White, huge. And then you kind of nailed it. I mean, on a night where they're losing a ton of offense in Jaylen Brown, a couple of years ago, there wasn't going to be a guy to make up for that. They've had, they didn't draft anybody to make up for that, before Pritchard anyways. And they lacked that extra firepower. If a guy like Brown was going to be out of the lineup, obviously Hayward was supposed to be that guy, but with his injuries and things that kind of came up with him, never really could be a dependable player. But Derrick White has completely, and listen, there was a lot of people who loved Derrick White when the Celtics made the trade. I would be stunned if anyone knew, if anyone knew that he was going to be this good and this important to the Celtics team. Do not go back and watch the film of me and John talking about that trade, whatever you do.
Oh, I gotta find that.
Do not go back and find the
You guys
videos.
were against the trade?
We weren't. No, we weren't. We were not against the trade. What we were saying was that
the first round pick that was involved was that.
What we were saying was that he didn't play that well when the Celtics traded for him. Like the year they traded for him, he did not really play that well. He wasn't scoring at all. He wasn't really shooting well. You can go back and look at the numbers.
Oh, this is post-trade. Okay.
Once they traded for him, I wouldn't say that he was great for the Celtics team or anything close to that. But people kept saying how good he is, He's playing so well. I was like, not really, to the point where we were even wondering if the Celtics would regret the trade, if that first round pick would end up being, something and they'd regret it. Now, our point, or I'm not going to speak for John, but I guess my point is now he is playing awesome. Now this is the guy that I can definitely understand why they would trade a first round pick for. And now he's doing all the things that makes that trade unbelievable. And obviously him signing an extension. But if you go back to the beginning of the trade and when he first came over to the team, it didn't really go that well, I would say. Anyways, don't go back and watch those videos, whatever you do.
First thing doing when I get off.
That's the whole, like, I guess, origin of the Derrick White. The OGs of the show know. They know. I mean, it's kind of like when we tried to defend Jaylen Brown or Ben Simmons. That was another tough one that we probably don't want to go back and look at.
Oh no, you got. Oh damn, I forgot about that one. Damn,
that was another good one. Yeah, but again, I still stand by what we said. Here you go, Derrick White, 26 points here. Bobby, you back with us?
Yep.
Right,
the thing with him is he's become a 40% 3-point shooter. Like that's the thing, that he wasn't that coming to Boston, and it's amazing because he had those shooting struggles year one. You mentioned it, Jimmy, and now we're talking about 3 straight years where he's just dead eye from out there, and those are such tough ones down the stretch there that give you cushion that you needed in this game. Like that. Those threes don't go down, maybe you lose this game, especially judging by the final score went. So right now it's the shot making, and there's obviously a ton else, the blocks, the defensive versatility, the passing. They put him at point for a lot of this game, and I feel like he did a great job protecting the ball in tandem with Drew. And you get a great Tatum game at the point too. I mean, that you're talking about 2 turnovers between those guys. So the ball protection's there, the shooting's there, the versatility, the screening to be able to set up all these matchups. And I think the key of this game was the fact that you could line up Tatum against Rudy so often and essentially take him out of the late stages of this game. And that's the guards that allow you to do that. Different guys being able to screen Tatum's defender off of him, be able to create those matchups. I can't believe the Wolves kept doing that for as long as they did. And the only way they switched it up was essentially taking Gobert out of the game late. But the shooting, the playmaking, it all puts you in such a bind. I mean, this looked like the Celtics team, Jimmy, that is going to blow away the rest of the league if they play with this level of focus, intensity, and attention to detail. And it was all there in this game on both ends, which was important. But it didn't start that way. The beginning of the game, would they give up 9 baskets on 11 possessions or something like that? So they turned it around too after a really rough start.
No, Bobby.
Yeah, the shot
No, go ahead. You got it, Noah.
No, please. Please, Sherrod.
No, I insist.
No,
I was going to say that the shot making in the first quarter.
I'm going to tour Bobby's room right now.
What's happening over there?
I don't know. He's got like the eclipse going through his screen.
It's
Bobby's about to give us a tour. He's about to pick up the camera and show us around the whole room. He's got some good art. Anyways.
I was just going to say that there was a stretch there where neither team could miss. And so the Celtics shot making in that first quarter was so important. Obviously Minnesota was hot and I think had some easy looks. And Joe talked about in the timeout break about how they needed to stop fouling and they needed to do better contesting threes. But I do think like in that first quarter, the fact that they were able to get a rhythm and Pritchard hit a few and Hauser hit a few, that's kind of the difference a lot of times in these games. And I think when they were losing, they weren't able to overcome a bad defensive quarter. And so I don't know that the defense felt night and day different to me than it has in the past. Certainly they got in a good rhythm there. Second quarter was awesome. But they were just able to withstand, Minnesota's inevitable hot stretches offensively just because they were also scoring and they were also hitting shots. And they actually didn't finish this game shooting great. I think they were like 36%. So they started hot and they kind of cooled down a little bit. But yeah, I think that's kind of been the key. And I feel like that's what Joe's been trying to get us to internalize a little bit as well, as the fact that like at the end of the day, like they do need to hit these shots to be able to beat these teams. And tonight they hit just enough. It wasn't that they went crazy, but I think they did hit enough because they could have been down more than 7 at the end of that first quarter.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of jump back a little bit, what Bobby was saying about Derrick White, to me, his shot making obviously is important. It's something that certainly has helped the Celtics, but to me, his defensive versatility has been everything. That really has opened up opportunities for this Celtics team to be an elite team, regardless of what's happening at the offensive end of the floor. Now, the Celtics have some tremendously powerful and talented offensive weapons without question. But it's that versatility that he brings to the table defensively that allows them to, frankly, withstand stretches where they can't make shots and still find ways to win. I go back to the Toronto game where they shot 33% in the first quarter and they had a double-digit lead. I don't care how bad Toronto is. You don't shoot that poorly and go into and finish the first quarter with a double-digit lead unless you're doing something at a really, really high level defensively. And Derrick White has a lot to do with that. I think last year, there was a lot of conversations about who was the better defender, Derrick White or Jrue Holiday. And to me, you can't really pick one over the other because when they are in tandem, both of them are exceptional. When one is around and the other they're still really good, but they're not. I wouldn't say that they are exceptional. We don't really see what Jrue Holiday does when Derrick White is around because Derrick damn near doesn't really miss many games. But we've seen Derrick White without Jrue Holiday, and while he's still a good defender, he's not as good a defender when he doesn't have Jrue around. And Derrick, to his credit, his ability to evolve as a versatile defender who can not only hold his own at multiple positions, but is arguably the best shot blocking guard in the NBA. And the way that he's going, he may finish his career as the best shot blocking guard we've seen in the NBA because guys his size are not supposed to block shots. And he does it with a high level of consistency. So to me, his ability to defend multiple positions, show the versatility, that has been kind of the cheat code for the Celtics team to be an elite team that I think as long as he's going to be here, they're going to be in the hunt to win the championship.
Yeah, and it gives them ability to change matchups too, which they love to do defensively. They adjusted, different looks out there, double big, Tatum sometimes on Gobert. You can do all kinds of different stuff like that when you have the two guards in the backcourt, especially with Drew's defensive versatility, pretty much being able to guard 1 through 5. And that's another thing they have in their back pocket. Probably closer to playoff time. Like, you're not putting them through that physicality right now, Sherrod, against centers and the like, given what he's gone through physically this year. But once the big games come around, that's another card you can pull. And all the more impressive, Jimmy, in this one, you didn't have Porzingis. You didn't have Brown, who's, I think, so crucial at the point of attack against guys like Edwards and other matchups, the most difficult matchup on the other side. So you had to do some other stuff while accounting for the fact that I think Minnesota was going at Hauser a ton early to great success. I feel like Horford, when you put him in actions, make a move this year, is a little more susceptible to getting exposed out there too. So they had to adjust. They had to go to a lot of different lineups in this one. And, guys like White and Holiday and Tatum just give you the ability to play different lineups, big, small, and still have defensive success out there. I love the way they've played defense the last 2 games, even Noah, even given the fact that they gave up open threes to Randall and McDaniels and others in this game. That stuff felt by design instead of lack of effort or just attention to detail.
Somebody in the comments, I can't find it, but
I was just gonna acknowledge that.
Acknowledge what?
No, go ahead. Maybe we're not thinking the same thing.
No, you go, and then I'll say mine.
I was gonna say there's a frenzy about John retiring. I just wanted to confirm that he's still on the show.
Okay.
Is that not what you were going to? There were so many comments about it. I was like, we have to assure these people.
I was gonna address that, but yes, to answer everyone's question.
When was John last on? Has
John
it been
has
that
not
long?
retired.
He was on like 3 days ago.
He's
missed like 2 games.
He's on the Great British Baking Show. He's just baking pies nonstop right now. No, he will. Legend has it, or legend.
Legend has it. Oh boy.
Legend has it. He will be on the show tomorrow.
Will you be on the show tomorrow, Jimmy?
I will not be on the show. I have a gig tomorrow. John will be on the show tomorrow.
So
I think Noah,
John's not today.
No, you'll be in Houston. You'll be at the game.
Yes.
Bobby will be where?
Right here.
Right here.
As I always am.
Sherrod, who knows? Sherrod's
I'll be here.
Too. So yeah,
I'll be here.
You'll trade.
So
trade
now that
Xanis
that's
for
settled,
me. Yeah,
we will have a show tomorrow.
The show must go on.
Well, John's got to show back up. I mean, the trade deadline is coming up, so
Jimmy, are you starting to feel better about them the last couple games?
What I was going to ask real quick is because somebody in the comments asked how you guys thought, and we haven't really talked about him much considering the game he had, but Tatum, how you think his defense has been as of late. That's something that, depending on the night, can be better than others. But I mean, near triple-double tonight for Tatum. He had one a couple weeks ago, and just an all-around unbelievable game for him, stepping up, giving them what they needed when they needed it. But I guess
what's this road home thing starting to, and Brown's out tonight too, so I'm sure that factors into it. But he's just different on the road right now, Sherrod.
As he should be. I mean, I think if you're Tatum, I think you've come to understand and embrace the fact that you are going to be public enemy number one anytime you have on the road. And Tatum, I think he has a little bit more of that. I'm going to show you why I'm really good in him that he sometimes lets on. Because remember, Tatum has established himself as one of the top 5 players in the NBA for the last couple years. And yet he doesn't really get top 5 respect, home or away. And I think when he's on the road, I think there's a greater, pressure that he puts on himself to remind all those people in there who came to cheer on the home team that I'm about to break your heart. I'm about to just throw daggers in whatever hopes you had of winning this game because I'm top 5 Tatum. And that, to me, I just think he has more incentive and is a little bit more motivated to show what he can do when he's on the road, which it doesn't surprise me. And again, we've talked about this in the past, but Jaylen Brown being Eastern Conference Finals MVP and NBA Finals MVP, you cannot tell me if you're the best player on the team and the guy who's arguably 1B or number 2 gets that type of accolades and you win a championship, you are going to be motivated to remind anyone and everyone that you're 1A. I mean, if you go back, you go back and look at when Cedric Maxwell won NBA Finals MVP, Larry Bird was pretty damn good and pretty special the year after that. And I don't think it's just a coincidence that he was a great player. Great players find any and every way to motivate themselves, and often that motivation is the play of a teammate, and use that as inspiration to step.
They're best buddies.
Yeah, and
Curry is the same way, Sherrod.
What's that?
Curry not getting Finals MVP also brought out another level in him, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. So
you gotta love the Tatum, and listen, Shea is in a world of his own alongside Jokic right now, but you're starting to see Tatum maybe be in that third place conversation right alongside Giannis. He's creeping up just because of the way he keeps you afloat, no matter who's in the lineup and who's out this year. It feels like they need him on the floor more than ever before. Noah, and this stat, I've been tracking it. I guess I need to get the exact numbers in front of me, but according to one count, 9-0 the Celtics are now when he's above 33% usage. So that's tough to maintain, especially when you're sharing the ball with Brown and you have this egalitarian offense. But something about the last 5 road matchups, or just who's been in, who's been out this stretch, he's been able to have the ball a ton and do a ton with it. And whether it's moving it out of double teams, whether it's obliterating one-on-one matchups like Rudy tonight, they need to find a way to get the ball in his hands more often and just let him take over. I mean, enough of him standing in the corner like you saw early in that Toronto game, and just being off to the side, and I think they just need to make him more central to how they do things. I know they're playing the matchups and different stuff here, but you can't let the other team take him out of the game, because when he's had the ball in his hands this year, he's been devastating. When he's been on the floor, they've just been so much better this year compared to when he's off. I mean, they couldn't get him in the game fast enough in the fourth quarter there as it started to fall apart at the beginning.
And I just looked up the home versus away splits. His percentages are the same. He's just taking more shots on the road. And so he's averaging 31.6 points on the road and 25.8 at home. So there's a substantial difference as far as his actual output. And it does seem to be his usage.
Noah, before we let you go, who gets your Brownie Award tonight? Actually, you know what? Hold that thought. I think we have. Do we have a Brownie? Who's it going to be, Noah? We don't have to play Blame Pie tonight. How excited are you?
I know. I hated the Blame Pie.
We're gonna do.
I'm like nervous watching the games now because I know if they lose, that we have to do the Blame Pie.
I love Blame Pie. Love it.
I'm gonna say, so the Brownie's supposed to be like an underrated performance. Just to be clear.
Whatever you want. I mean, it should be
I'm
kind
gonna
of
give
your
it to Derrick
player.
White
It's
tonight.
your player of the game, basically. Yeah.
Well, I think Tatum is the player of the game.
It doesn't have to
But
be
my-
obvious.
The Brownie's White, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna do
It's
Derrick
your
White. I thought
player of the game.
Yeah, I thought he was great in the fourth quarter, hit some huge ones, and then just 2 charges and 2 blocks, I feel like should just get you the
charge take on Randall.
I know, I was like,
huge.
is this I feel like it was an intentional decision that he made, that he was gonna start drawing charges. I want someone to ask him about it.
Derrick?
Because Derrick, because it's kind of unusual to see anybody on the Celtics going, and he was like making a point of it. He hit 2, he got 2, and then there was a couple other times where I felt like he was vying for the charge. So I love to see it because he's such a good rim protector that if he starts, he starts getting blocks and then also charges, it makes it even harder to game plan for, because I do feel like people are trying to avoid getting blocked at the rim by him. But I mean, this was
an underrated skill of his. I know Pritchard's trying to develop his own. He probably needs to ask White for a little advice, because he's really good at it. The way he just gets in a good stance down there, feet in the right position. He just does everything well, Jimmy. This guy's perfect. It's unreal.
He's not Luke. He's not Luke Cornett. What do you mean he's perfect?
Bobby is at war with his lamp tonight. I don't know what's going on over there.
What is it? Can you before I go?
Can you explain this? Battle.
I'm just hitting stuff. I'm so excited about this game.
That's the spirit of Luke Cornett saying, "What do you mean he's perfect and I'm not?" That's what that is. That's the I'm going Keita though, Jimmy. He's the perfect choice for a Brownie in this.
I'll double down
off
on
the bench
you. Yeah.
Out of
I
nowhere.
would triple down on that. That was my
triple Brownie. Brownie
Damn, I left
Sunday
Tatum.
over here.
Damn, I left Tatum unattended. I thought that one of you guys would grab him. So
Nah,
Tatum?
I didn't realize we're all.
That's too easy. That's too easy. You look at the
Nah.
Brownie.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
I'm understanding the nature of the Brownie.
Yeah.
And it
You gotta
actually
zig,
can't
you-
be Jaylen Brown.
You gotta
Hauser would
zig.
be a good brownie here too.
You gotta zig when
Okay.
they think you're gonna zig. Yeah, it can't. I mean, it shouldn't.
Have we talked about Hauser?
And that was talking to
Yeah.
Brown. We did for a second. I kind of just mentioned him as my segue to Kada, so we didn't really talk about him. But do you want to say anything else about Kada since you just gave him the Brownie and me and Sherrod are deferring to you on it?
I just, like I said earlier, I wish they could find a way to get him into more games. Maybe they get experimental with the lineups. Maybe you give Porzingis and Horford more rest nights. I don't know what it is, but I just love to see him get more opportunity here. And it's tough because Cornette's been incredible. And in this game, too, really good minutes early. So you can't deny him. I mean, the way they utilize him in that drop right now is just, it's stalling teams' offenses. And he's racking up more blocks than in the past. And just more versatile. It feels like he can get out to the perimeter more. That was probably the biggest reason they went with Kada, though, later in this game, Jimmy, is you need him switching on to the perimeter guys, being able to cut off some of those threes better than Luke in there. So they got exactly what they needed out of him, and it happened right away. It was so quick, his impact. Offensive rebound, boom. Second play, he's in on the boards again. And they're on, and multiple alley-oops. Intimidation around the rim on the charge take that Noah was mentioning there. He came flying in at the end and blocked the shot too after White got it. So I just want to see him continue to build on this. And like Noah said earlier, it's a consistency factor with him. When he starts fouling or whatever it might be, I feel like a couple of games ago when he last played, it was a lot of fouling that knocked him out of that game. So build on this, game by game. If he continues to stack these up, that's what keeps you in the lineup.
Good job. That's the Brownie Award in a nutshell right there. Noah's going to dip. Before you do, Noah, anything you want to tell us about tomorrow? You're going to be covering the game live. Where can everybody find you? What should they look for? You have any key takeaways or points going into this game tomorrow before?
No, I mean, Houston's been one of the best defensive teams all year. And I always find it fun when an opposing coach, someone that coached, Tatum and Brown, it can scheme against them because they're going to bring it and they're going to try
He's missing his two forwards.
I know.
Looks like Eason and Thompson are both out.
And Cam Whitmore, did you guys watch his post-game interview yesterday?
No.
Worth a watch. He doesn't seem happy.
Why don't you?
He just doesn't seem happy.
Okay.
I don't want to put words in his mouth, It wasn't what he said, it was how he said it.
Well, he just kind of did.
Well, he just so just check out Cam Whitmore post game. But yeah, I think it'll be a great game. You can follow along. I'll have updates on Twitter/X, and then I'll jump on the show after the pressers wrap up.
Sounds good. A little Friday night coverage from Houston, and then Bobby's gonna bomb out to OKC. Is that accurate?
Yeah, not an easy journey, but I'm gonna make it Saturday night.
Yeah, I didn't even know you could.
I
didn't even know you could fly out to OKC.
You can't. So I'm gonna be in Charlotte for a little bit, and then make my way over to Oklahoma City.
Catch a
Charlotte's a good
train.
spot.
Also, I'm also sad because I do think that we should have a drama segment, and I do think there's a lot of drama to talk about right now.
We told you could have a drama segment.
I know. I said I was going to organize it. Was that last show? I'll think about it.
It was a couple shows ago, but I think it would be perfect for like a Friday or a weekend show type thing.
Okay.
There's always drama in the NBA.
That's like the drama.
Amen.
Like it's the end of the week. What's the tea? Like I'm sitting down.
How about the drama top 5 dramas going on in the league right now? Because there's that many any given week.
There's always drama. We got Butler.
You got Zion, Butler, Philly,
Cam
Whitmore
hates his team apparently, according to Noah.
No.
Kings.
Don't forget about the Kings and DeAndre.
Sacramento. So there you go. Your top 5 for this week.
Probably something in Philly. We don't even know, but it probably
there's a lot of stuff. I think people would want it.
There's a lot of stuff. Yeah. All right. Well, all right. So Noah's going to be.
I'll work on it. I'll have a drama announcement tomorrow.
Okay.
From Toyota Center.
Yeah. Okay.
That'll be my on the ground.
Maybe there'll be some drama at the game tomorrow. There's been a lot of fights. Rockets have gone in.
There's been a ton of fights. I know you're right. Rockets are and
feisty.
Again, Ime kind of leading the way there. They're a tough team. Like they play hard too, and they're one of the biggest surprises, if not the biggest surprise, I would say, of the NBA season so far. Yeah. So Not going to be an easy one for the Celtics. Second night of a back-to-back, both on the road.
Hopefully Porzingis back. Again, I'm assuming that's how they're splitting that up, but
someone reported.
He's
Jay
been out
reported
4 games now.
I think he's had a shoot around today per The Athletic that he is doing a lot better and went through a full shoot around.
Yeah, he looked good.
I just want to see him play
Tuesday too.
There you go.
I just want to see him play like a week straight. Drama segment. Okay, let's go. Also, my Twitter handle is just my name. Somebody asked that. Noa Dalzell.
It was on the board. I don't know where they all disappeared to, but they were there. All right, get out of here, Noah. I'm going to do a couple reads. Thanks again, guys. Keep up with Noah tomorrow from Houston. And in the meantime, we're going to tell everybody about our good friends at Prize Picks. What is Prize Picks, you ask? Well, it's the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. That's a lot of money. Billions of dollars. We're just throwing that number out there now. Like, I got to check my bank. Everyone's throwing the millions and billions around, man. I got to check what's going on with myself. Awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. That's right. 1,000 times your cash. I can't even do the math on that. Run your game all season long with Prize Picks. Guys, the basketball season is still going strong. It's heating up, all those great things. Holidays are behind us, but now we're getting into, you can look at it 2 ways. We're kind of getting into the winter doldrums here. You're not really sure what to expect with certain NBA teams, but you know what? That's when you can maybe take advantage of some Prize Picks numbers. Maybe you go less on some numbers. Maybe you think these guys just aren't going to bring it on any given night right now. So you go less on it. Why not? Give it a shot. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guarantees. They also offer weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, Prize Pick discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide more value for your picks. So download the app today and use the code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today, use the code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. So I know Bobby's a big Prize Picks guy. I don't know if he hasn't been bragging about any wins lately, so I have a feeling Prize Picks might be getting the best. You know those guys who you only hear from when they win. It's like you only get the screenshot of the winning one, not the losers. That could sneaky be Bobby. What about our good friends at Game Time? We can't forget our good friends at Game Time either. It is the place to go. Amit, you asleep? Give me my game. Get my Game Time. Do I have to do it myself?
Asleep.
To do it myself. There it is. Download the Game Time app and create an account. Use the code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. There you go, Amit. He's doing his thing over there. Honestly, guys, there's so many cool things about. You got to download the app first of all. It's hard for me to explain it if you don't download it. Download the app is unbelievably easy to use. You can see it on the screen here. Very easy to juggle or toggle between sports, between music, events in your area. You can curate to make them easier to get the best price on great seats. They have a super deal, which is the best value for that event. You can see the seat view before you buy. Like you click on the ticket and you get you can even move the phone and it kind of like you're sitting in the seat. It's unbelievable. They guarantee the lowest price and they also offer event cancellation protection. The all-in pricing will there'll be no surprises in what the cost of the ticket's going to be. They also, like I said, the ticket coverage is a good one to have too. The Game Time guarantee, you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section in row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference.
Nice.
Literally make money. You can literally make money by using Game Time. They'll credit you 110% of the difference. Job loss assurance. If you lose your job and you need a refund, Game Time has you covered. Could be Xanis soon if he doesn't show up to one of these shows. He might be taking advantage of the job loss assurance on game. I'm gonna talk to Gelso. Gelso's on the show tonight, or he's in the chat tonight. 24-hour returns guarantee. Return your tickets within 24 hours from the time of purchase for a full credit to your Game Time account. No questions asked. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. What time is it, Bobby?
Game time.
Boom, boom, boom.
And by the way, Amit just admitted he was fully zoned out. So
you're down there in Houston.
Maybe Amit's going to take advantage of that. Game Time.
I think there'll be some good tickets. Oklahoma. Yeah,
if you're in the Houston area, you know what? You guys talk for a second. I'm going to pull up Game Time. I'm going to actually do this right now. You guys, Bobby, you want to talk about Hauser, right?
Yeah, Hauser's getting back in his groove, and I think that's so important for them, Sherrod. You see some of the game-breaking shots he hits that the other team guards so well for 20 seconds or so late in the
$69 bucks to get into the Celtics game tomorrow. $69, nice.
Boom. Hauser just beats you with a backbreaker there, or off one of those offensive rebounds, or whatever other situation he finds himself in. And he's fighting so hard through this injury he's dealing with here, Jimmy. You can see him on the sideline, and you see him stretching out, and even just getting out there every night. I think Joe's talked about that too, that he's pushing hard to be available through these struggles here. And he could probably just sit back and take a week or two off and try to get it 100% right. But he's out there. He's been a presence. Even the defensive struggles he went through early in this game, he worked through them, came out and hit a bunch of shots. And he's on the other side of this, it feels like, the shooting struggles at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, his health, without question, has been a major, major factor in him. And that's why I don't think there's anyone that is going to benefit from the All-Star break more than Sam Hauser. I think for him to have
unless they call him for the three-point contest.
You know what? If I'm Sam, I might sit that one out.
I know that sucks.
And that's a tough.
But you know what, Sherrod? I don't know. If you're Sam Hauser, like, how do you pass?
If that's the only thing, if that's the only thing that you will be responsible for All-Star Weekend, then you do it. But if they're just like, hey, we want you to do the contest. Oh, by the way, can you be part of this? And can you do this? See, that's when it becomes problematic, because he really needs the rest. We saw what a relatively healthy Sam Hauser looks like tonight. And that's the Sam Hauser that, if you think back to last season, you think back to those the deep playoff run that led to a championship. That was the Sam Hauser we saw tonight. He's never going to be a lockdown defender, but he's a much better defender than what we've seen the previous 2-3 months of this season. And tonight was one of the few games where, there were some moments where obviously he wasn't where he needed to be defensively, and they went at him more than he's used to being guys going at him. But Sam, over the course of his time in the NBA, since he's been with the Celtics, has been a solid, not spectacular, but a solid defender. And this was as close as we've seen him to being that in a long time. And I think one of the main reason is because I think his body is starting to feel more like it used to before he had all these back ailments.
I hope that's the case. Yeah, and not that shots are just falling or he's gutting through the pain. He's wearing that back. I don't know if it's a heating pad, Jimmy, or whatever he's wearing on the bench there. He's been wearing that pretty steadily all year. And I know it's spasms the last couple of games he missed, and it was an adductor thing when he missed a game or two before that. So we're talking, 30-plus games here now where it's impacted him to some degree, and it probably comes and goes. I'd have to guess that's what the situation is here.
Yeah.
But, man, that's been one of the underlying things that's killed them this year, is how Hauser went from 79 games, 43% three-point shooting, to on and off availability, 35, 36% three-point shooting. It's been a big difference for their bench.
And again, the defense, there are going to be nights where he's the whole point with Hauser is to just not be a liability. And he wasn't last year. That was that was kind of like the big, as great as he was shooting, I think what a lot of people were even more impressed about was the fact that you can leave him out there. He wasn't just a guy that you need to hide or you needed to bring him out and just very specific short stints in order to try to, get a quick couple of threes and then get burned on the other court. Like, he holds his own out there, and he's not going to ever.
He had a great possession on Edwards tonight too.
Yeah.
He's not going to ever be Derrick White in terms of the defense, right? He's not going to morph into a player that you really had no idea on the defensive end he was capable of being. But I think the fact that he is who he is now is enough. Clearly, I mean, it was enough to be a huge part of this team. For me, it's just simply watching those shots go down, because that tells me he's starting to feel like himself. He's not in pain, or he's not thinking about it too much, or he's just simply getting enough shots up where he can get into a groove. Because if he's missing every other game, or, in one game, out a game, in 2 games, it's just hard to find that rhythm, And then when he is in the game, if he's not putting up, I mean, it sounds crazy to say, but if he's not putting up 10 threes, like, it might not.
He had a game recently where he took 0 shots.
Right. And that's when we said something.
That should never happen.
Right?
Should never happen. Never, ever happen.
So,
but 10 of his last 17 at one point tonight. I think when you add it up, he's probably above 50% over his last 3-4 games here. So it's turning a corner. You want to see a few more here. I think 12 of 24. Yeah, so 50% right on the dot over his last 3 games. So, just like with Cade, stack one game after another where he's looking good. You can put him in the starting lineup here when you're down 2 starters and get some good results. And they just made good adjustments as the game flowed, with lineups, with assignments on defense, and that turned into offense. So this was a great win, Jimmy. Again, I really wanted them to win this game. I thought they needed to, the first of these marquee games coming up. If you lose tomorrow, it's probably a tough scheduling loss. Who's in, who's out, who knows? We'll figure that out tomorrow. But this is the one you needed. It was certainly the weakest of the 4 opponents, amazingly enough, when you look at them. And they gave you everything they had, and you still withstood it and overcame it. Again, Sherrod, 21 threes they threw at you, and you were able to generate 22, along with all the turnovers and offensive rebounds that gave you the edge in this game. That's what made the Celtics great a year ago.
Absolutely. And they're going to need that. They're going to need to find different ways to emerge victorious, even on nights when teams are shooting really well and knocking down threes the way they do. And again, I go back to their defense. That was, I think, was one of the keys to them getting this victory. I mean, yes, Tatum had a big game, and Cade did some cool things off the bench, and Derrick White made some plays, but forcing all those points off of turnovers while not turning the ball over and giving up points at the other end. That to me was the if there was a stat of the night, that was probably it. Points off turnovers, and how that factored into the Celtics' ability to withstand a Minnesota team that shot the ball well from the field, they shot the ball well from the line, and they shot the ball well from 3-point range. They did all the things offensively that you're told you need to do in order to beat the Celtics. Shot 50% from the field, better than 50% on threes, better than 90% from the free throw line. So
we got a couple nice little sound bites that I want to toss up. So the first one is going to be from Anthony Edwards talking to reporters after the game, frustrated at the way he's being guarded now. And so kind of interesting. He's pretty candid with, he's one of the better interviews, I would say, right? I mean, he's not really shy to say how he feels. And but you can definitely see the frustration in the way that the Celtics guarded him tonight. And we talked about it earlier. I think it was Sherrod who said it. You kind of commended the Celtics for the way they guarded Edwards, whereas Bobby was a little bit more, I think, just confused at the type of game he had. But it sounds like, at least, that maybe it was something the Celtics did. So let's see what we got.
Took 1 shot but had 5 assists, and you guys scored 34 points.
Kind of a long
one.
one.
So we'll just this right now, like to just get up as much as possible. And
hell no. I mean, well, I'm sorry. Is that a cussing word?
No. You can say how good.
I don't know, man. That was a good brand of basketball, but it's not how I want to play, of course. I mean, I'm only 23. I don't want to just be passing the ball all night. You feel me?
Like, you don't do my comedy.
Yeah, at all. But the way that they guarded me, I think I have to. So
I was gonna say, how hard is it to just stay engaged?
super hard,
Yeah.
super hard. I mean, because I'm wired to score the ball.
Do you think that's what teams are trying to do to you, like mentally trying to take you out of the game?
I don't know.
I don't. You like that?
I mean, that might be a part of it, but I know they're just doing it. I don't know if like their plan is like let's mentally take them out, but because it don't like take me all the way out of the game, but it definitely frustrates me a little bit. But them doubling me definitely, it's like, bro, what is going on? Like, So yeah, I be trying to figure it out, man.
Is it something where you have to just try to get the ball back after you give it up, or
I don't know.
Yeah, but then I don't want to make it seem like I'm like chasing the ball every time, you know.
Right.
But then when I get double and give it up, and then go to the corner and make it seem like I'm just like, all right, boom, the double team won. So like I don't know what to do, honestly. But it's not fun, of course, you know.
Man,
I don't want to look like I'm
thirsty,
not trying or not as good as I am, you know.
Because you know I'm great.
I am, but I can't show it because I'm getting double teamed. You know,
is it a pride thing when you see SGA do what he did the other night?
Yeah, and then Tatum, and then the next team we go play Cade, and then like it's definitely frustrating. To see these guys cooking us and I can't cook them because of the whatever the adjustments are.
You know what, man?
Nice.
I gotta give the Celtics credit, man. It is really nice to be living rent free in someone's head. That's a great feeling.
That's incredible. I can't.
He is crying on camera right now.
I mean,
I'm getting guarded.
This is the thing about it, though. What he's talking about is what Kobe went through. It's what Tatum went through. It's what Michael Jordan went through. It's what any great player in the NBA has gone through. When you are cooking guys one-on-one, you know what teams are going to do? They're going to adjust. They're going to force you. They're going to force you to either step and elevate your game, or you will continue to have these nights of frustration. This is the moment where Anthony Edwards this offseason has to get in the lab and do some serious soul searching on what can I do to be more impactful offensively when teams are double teaming me, when teams are blitzing me. Tatum went through this in his career, and Tatum did what I think most guys do. You find other ways to impact winning, whether it's with the passing, whether it's with rebounding, whether it's with setting screens, whether it's rolling to the basket. You do something other than just take the ball top of the key and look to score. That's where Anthony Edwards finds himself now. What do I need to do to not have nights like this? Because, hate to break it to you, this is going to happen over and over.
It happens to Tatum all the time. And it's a similar story to what happened to Tatum.
Yeah.
He's shooting more threes. He's trying to drop the defense, absorb those double teams, and let other guys get opportunities off of that. And I think those comments are emblematic, and his production this year that he just hasn't advanced as a facilitator to the degree, whether it's willingness or ability that you need to at this point in your career. And he's 3-4 years younger than Tatum, so the time's still there for that to grow with him. But that's always what we looked at, Jimmy, when we compared these two, probably about a year ago. Coming off that crazy game that they played last year in Minnesota. And, there's a lot of talk, is Edwards catching up to Tatum? Is he going to pass him by this year? But it was always that passing. And Tatum, you saw it early in his career, the flashes with it, his ability to see the floor and just make good plays. Edwards, whether it's the turnover numbers or just the sometimes reckless play or his shoot first approach, I don't know if he's going to have what we've seen from Tatum or some of the other better passing forwards over the league in recent years down the line. Now, he can work at it. He can get better. There's plenty of room for growth here, but that needs to be his mindset. It can't just be, wow, I'm getting double teamed. I can't score here. What am I supposed to do? And we've seen that from other players, Sherrod, and I'd almost compare it more to Jaylen, right? He's got that score first mentality. He had to, just add that layer of playmaking and floor vision to his game to prevent the turnovers and other mistakes or double teams when they flew at him from taking him out of a game. And he's grown leaps and bounds too. So I think that's going to be the trajectory for Edwards, is more in that Jaylen lane. The tough part here, Jimmy, is that they took away that other potential first option there in Towns, and Randall's improving, I'd say. But it's just not natural. Those two guys don't play off each other much. And there's not a lot of complementary aspects to each other's game out there. I don't know how they're going to fix this thing out there this season.
That was the risk by doing it, right? I mean, I think a lot of people
it just
were
looks
scratching their
awful
head.
in retrospect.
Especially when you look at the way what way Cat is thriving in New York now, where I mean, Cat's a legitimate top 5, top 6 MVP as candidate right now. The way he's been balling, the way that Knicks team, because Jalen Brunson has not been very good. He's been okay, but he hasn't been nearly as good as we've seen him in past. Karl Anthony Towns has been carrying that team. Period.
Yeah,
He's
a lot of people.
He's an all-star starter right now.
Yeah, as he should be. He's earned it. But Minnesota, to your point though, Bobby, about Randall, I don't.
He hurt the Celtics in this one, but it kind of happens one-on-one in his own world.
Exactly, and I think it doesn't facilitate winning team ball. Like when you're watching Julius Randle play, you don't get a sense that he's going to do some things that are going to open things up for Anthony Edwards. And the other way around, Anthony Edwards doesn't really seem to do things that can open things up for Julius. And you flip that over, you look over at the Celtics sideline. When you watch Jayson and Jalen play, they have figured out how to complement each other without getting in the way, without being too deferential to the other. And that's something that Anthony Edwards, I think he's going to have to really be the one to initiate that. He's going to have to be the one to bring Julius around and bring some of those other guys around if they're going to ever be anything more than just a second round team. But I give the Celtics a lot of credit for, again, coming up with a game plan that puts them living in Anthony Edwards' head rent-free, because that's what they did in this game. And you listen to his post-game comments, he clearly was a guy that was frustrated by why am I getting all these damn double teams? And it goes back to the point we were making earlier about just having defensive versatility. I mean, 1 minute you're being guarded by Tatum, and then you look to attack, and then there's Derrick White. So then they switch Derrick White on you. Okay, you look to attack again, and now you got Derrick White and Drew Holiday. It's like no matter what the combination is, that double team, you are dealing with guys who are either slightly above average to exceptional defenders, and that's frustrating, particularly when your instinct isn't to keep the ball moving. Your instinct is to attack and find a way to score, and the Celtics don't allow them to do that.
They don't have
Holiday's getting back into that roaming role too, Jimmy, which makes them all the more unpredictable.
Yeah,
I mean, you're playing against a Celtics team that, when they want to, can be one of the best defensive teams in the league. But the way Minnesota's built, and kind of mentioned it with Cat being traded, you can afford to double team Anthony Edwards. There's not a lot of shooters on that team. They're not going to.
They were willing to let McDaniel shoot, of course, and he missed some wide open ones. And then Randall, they lived with him. They were willing to live with those
McDaniels, Gobert, Conley, Reed. Even Reed hit freaking 4 threes tonight or something.
He's probably their best perimeter shooter outside of Anthony Edwards.
Reed and DiVincenzo. I mean,
yeah, right.
I mean, obviously they can. Yeah, he can score and whatever, but you're willing to take that risk because obviously Edwards is gonna take any shot he can get. He can get open. Yeah. And he actually did have a good look at that last shot tonight at the end of the game. I mean, all things considered. It
looked like they were trying to foul and he got in front of them.
I was going to ask you, do you think that they were trying to foul or
yeah, you saw Pritchard and Missoula talking about it. If he could get him off the catch, and they did. And then he was able to dribble past them. And they might have even gotten him and they didn't get the call. So I don't know what happened there, but he ended up sneaking past them. And for all the praise we're giving them, if they give up that 3 and then lose in overtime, we're like, what the F? So
right. No,
it was a slim margin of victory here for sure.
Yeah, can't wait to see that 2-minute report.
And to be honest, I mean, what were they up 8 in the final?
They were up 14 in the third, and then 7-8
Well, Holiday, I mean, we should mention dumb foul. He got caught that 3-point foul at the end there on
by DiVincenzo.
DiVincenzo.
Yeah.
He bit on that, and that was uncharacteristic of Holiday for sure. I'm not going to harp on it, but should be noted anyways. And then as good as Tatum was, and he was very good in this one, he was unbelievable. And we're going to transition into, I think we'll talk a little bit about the All-Star voting that came out, but he took a massive heat check shot in this game late in that fourth quarter. It was it like 35-footer or something outrageous that just didn't need to happen. It just I don't want to harp on it too much, but because he did have
There's
a
a
great
time and
game and a great fourth quarter. But
there's a time and a place for that stuff, and that was the wrong place.
It
was the wrong time.
It was too close to be doing stuff like that.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Do that when you're up by 9.
Was that the one where? Was that the one where Kata got the offensive rebound and got mobbed?
I think so.
Yeah.
There was a few of those, but speaking of Tatum, we'll stop talking about this game. We'll move to the All-Star voting that came out today. The first round of results have come out, and let me see if I can throw up the forward. Here we go. This is the
Jalen
front
forward
court
this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jalen's in the forward. We're going to show the forward ones after, but as you can see, Western Conference, Eastern Conference, Tatum third in voting, at least for the front court's concerned. Jokic.
And he was third overall. Yeah.
Third overall. Okay, so Giannis leads all voters. Then you had Jokic, and then you've got Tatum. It's kind of interesting that the big drop off after like the top 3 in the East.
Yeah.
A huge drop off there, and a lot of votes for Cat. Obviously being on the Knicks, I was still surprised to see that many, but he's having an unbelievable year. And then out west, of course, the usual suspects: Durant, LeBron, Anthony Davis. Look at Wemby though, cracking the top 5 of the front court there.
I actually thought he'd be higher though.
That might be the lowest you ever see him. You know what like as the years kind of go here, and you could see him passing Anthony Davis very soon. It's still relatively close now, but the way he's been playing and assuming that he can stay on the court, and he's only going to be getting better. And eventually, someday, who knows when, the Durants and LeBrons will maybe decide to hang him up. I don't want to see that happen. I like watching those guys play, and they can still play great basketball. But LeBron just celebrated 40, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, LeBron. And what did he say? He could still play another. Was that just
5 to 7? 5 to 7 years.
Dude, honestly, he's right.
If only we're so lucky.
He easily could. He's got
like
the Brady.
Love that one.
He's got the Brady, aspects going on there. Brady's the GOAT. Don't get me wrong, but LeBron is arguably the GOAT in the NBA as well, and it's certainly at his age.
Yeah.
If he wanted to play another 5 years, I can guarantee you he will be on any NBA roster would be happy to have him.
So Tatum's gonna start. Brown's gonna make it. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
So you want to go to the guards here? Or do you? Anything jump out at you here, Bobby or Sherrod, on either one here?
I was a little. Well, let's start in the East. I was a little bit surprised, and you touched on it earlier, Jimmy, that there was such a huge gap between Karl Anthony Towns and the rest of the pack. Yeah. I thought Karl should be in that top 3. There's no doubt about that. But I didn't think that there would be, damn near,
Yeah, the fourth guy's injured.
Right.
Banchero, and then Brown distant. 433 is a far cry from where Tatum is. I was a little surprised to see.
Out west, surprised at the fact that Jalen Williams of OKC, a guy that I think is really, really good. I was surprised he cracked the top 10, to be honest with you. Not that he doesn't deserve, but just that he's not
a household name.
He's not a household name. And so it was good to see him there.
Wiggins.
I don't get that one at all.
Yeah, why? That's just blind. That's just blind Warrior votes, right?
There's stuff in the ballot box.
Yeah, exactly. And they do wasn't there a couple days where it's like, oh, your vote counts for 3x
3 times?
Yeah, I can't figure it. I hate that stuff. What are we doing?
Well, this only counts for 50% of the starters. I think there's some player voting and coach voting or something like that too involved in this. But this will be the driving force, and I do think it'll be Tatum, Towns, Giannis in the front court.
This is the fan portion. It's 50% and 25% for players, and I think it's 25% for media.
That's right.
Yeah, so I think there will be a little bit of movement, but it won't be anything earth-shattering. Yeah,
and we got the guards, so you'll see one Celtic just cracking the top 10 there. Derrick White not getting the national love that he deserves. Jordan Poole is getting more votes than Derrick White. Can you imagine that?
No, I can't.
Jordan Poole.
Jordan freaking Poole.
Jordan Poole seems like the type of guy that would have just sat on his phone and voted for himself.
Exactly.
On
And on the day when they
Just,
give vote 3 for 1, he was
calling everybody he knows. Hey,
Warriors fans again.
Exactly.
Calling everybody.
They still have love for him. I don't know.
I was the thing that surprised me about this one. Well, two. I thought that Tyrese Maxey would be a little bit higher. I think Tyrese has had a great year.
Yeah, in a big market,
Yeah. I think Jalen Brunson is benefiting from a hangover from last season, as far as folks are still, showing him love, even though he really. I think Trae Young has had a better year. I think Tyrese has had a better year than he has, and I think Derrick White has. I mean, so Jalen is the one guy who's probably higher in the East, and I think he probably should be. And when you look out West, Norman Powell cracking the top 10 is surprising. That's really, really surprising. Anthony Edwards behind Kyrie Irving. Interesting.
Kyrie's got, I don't know how he does it, but he's just got stands, man. He's just, people just love Kyrie. They've loved him since he stepped foot in the league.
Yeah, he's been good this year though. With Luka, with all the health issues, Kyrie has been really good this year.
The West will be interesting. I didn't really look too much at who will make it out there. It's probably pretty straightforward in terms of all those guards making it, and not as many guys in the front court.
What's Harden doing? Is Harden doing anything?
Yeah, he's had a solid year. He might not get in though, just because there's so many.
Right.
Jazz hurt right now. We'll see how that goes. But in the East, I think the most interesting thing is going to be Ball leading the vote getters there. But does player vote cut into that? Does media vote cut into that? Because Mitchell should make it. Lillard should make it. Brunson, Young. I'd say Cade and Maxey have as strong, if not stronger, case than Ball too, especially if we're talking about winning here. And the Hornets have been horrible this season.
Melo is going to be.
If he gets knocked out of the starting spot, Sherrod, I don't think he's going to make it.
No, he won't. The coaches won't vote him in because
he's not going to get. He's not going to get knocked out of the starting spot with that lead.
That's what I'm saying.
We'll see. What if no media members vote for him and no players vote for him? Like it'll be close at that point.
Is he? So you're saying he's playing bad enough where he won't get any other votes?
I think the other guys are playing better.
I mean, he's kind of made for the Ball is made for the All-Star game.
So Mitchell's a lock, right?
Mitchell will get in.
Yeah, Mitchell.
Whether Lillard gets in as a starter, and he would be that next guy up as a starter, right? So it's Lillard versus Ball essentially. He should be there. Brunson should be there, and then it's a toss-up between those next three guys. And I the way I looked at it last year at least was you get 2 guard reserves, 3 front court reserves, and 2 wild cards. So the wild cards would obviously go to guards. So what I ended up coming up with here, if Ball does start, is Garland, who I think has to be there, even though he's not on this list. Brown, Young, Brunson, Lillard, Mobley. And if it is another front court guy that needs to be in there, I think Embiid might sneak in, or Vucevic maybe, because that'll end up snubbing.
How are you going to say Embiid?
Embiid?
Just because you need another. Let's go back to the front court. So
he's barely playing. He's going to play an All-Star game. Makes no sense.
So if we need 3 front court guys from this list, obviously Brown, right? Mobley, and who would be next up?
Wait, so you're saying Towns is a starter?
Yeah,
because he's the top 3.
So the top 3 would be starters. 3,
and then you're saying Brown, Mobley. Damn.
Oh, I would go out and maybe get Jared Allen.
Jared Allen, 4 All-Stars.
What do you mean 4? Oh, who are their others?
Garland. I would say.
Garland. I wouldn't have Garland.
All right, so you would have Cade or Maxey over Garland.
Yep.
Because I had Maxey.
I'd have Maxey over Garland.
Yeah, they definitely don't need 4 All-Stars from Cleveland. That's for sure.
No.
Garland would be a tough guy to keep out.
What's the deal with with Wagner.
He's going to be out for a long time.
He's hurt.
Yeah.
He would be the one that would be the logical one to.
Yeah, he would have been fun. Like he would have been a fun one to put in there.
And I wish Powell played more because he would be a great one too.
This year, Garland's 22, 7 assists, 49 from the field, 43 from 3.
Dude, there's no way Embiid's making the All-Star game. Like out of principle, there's no effing way. Yeah. There's just no way.
Maxi's 26, 3 and 5. I got games though.
Hey, I got a name to throw at you, Bobby. Bam Adebayo.
He could get in, but he has shot really poorly this year.
He's had a rough year, I know. But if I've got,
he's not even on that list, huh?
That's what I'm saying. If I have to choose between Joel Embiid or a struggling Bam Adebayo, I'm going to take struggling Bam Adebayo this year.
Well, who's been really good that me and Noah did this exercise a week or two ago. We had Vucevic in. Vucevic has been fantastic for Chicago this year.
Yeah, this is a sad list on the East, man. Like between injuries and guys who just don't deserve to be there. Like, what are we even doing?
So should Derrick White get in?
No.
You could play him in the front court.
Put him at center.
You might as well block just as many shots.
So here's the tough part. So on my list,
Derrick White get in. I think it's just hard. It's hard. I think Derrick White plays. He's one of the best two-way players in the NBA. I just don't know how conducive that is to an All-Star game format. I don't know if he's really going to draw. Like if the NBA is trying to draw crowds, like national audience, like I don't know.
The other thing too, Jimmy, is that are you going to reward the second or third best team in the East with 3 All-Stars?
No.
They're the second best. The Celtics are the second best team.
Well,
yeah, that's what he's saying.
That's what I'm saying. Like if they're the second or third best team, well, they're New York is literally right on their heels. So let's not pretend as if a bad week.
Who's going to be so happy?
I think if they, to your point, Sherrod, if they were number 1 seed, I think you could make a case.
Yeah, if they were number 1, then absolutely. But 2 or 3, no.
Joe's going to be so happy he doesn't have to coach this damn thing.
Yeah. The format that they've got for this year's All-Star game is just crazy.
I don't know how it's going to work, how they split up these guys. And
sucks.
Who coaches what team. But I guess
honestly, the team that's going to win is going to be those like the
second-year guys.
The kids. They're going to win.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because they're going to play hard.
The only ones who are going to try to freaking win.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right.
They're going to play hard.
That makes it interesting at the very least, I guess. I don't know how they're going to split up these teams and all that, but again, I had Ball, Mitchell, Lillard, Brunson, Young, and that would be my 5 right there.
Ball, Mitchell, Lillard, Brunson, Young. That's your 5.
Okay. Yes, am I forgetting someone?
The fans got that right.
Oh,
Garland. Just simply because Cleveland's 1 seed?
No, and he's been awesome. I think he deserves it.
So Dame Lillard will not be an All-Star.
He has been really good.
No. I got 6. So Ball, Mitchell, Lillard, Brunson, Young, Garland. So I'm leaving out Cade, which kills me because I love Cade and Maxey. Maxey missed a lot of time at the start of the year. Remember?
So Philly won't have anybody then.
No, they don't deserve anybody. They're not even in the playoffs right now.
I know they're bad.
Yeah, they're bad.
I mean,
he should be next man up. He should be next man up for an injury reserve. And that's the tough part here with White, too. Like, what is he, 4th in line if someone gets hurt? Because you're talking Cunningham, Maxey. Hero's been really good, too. Like
I think Hero might be the first one up if there's an injury replacement in the backcourt.
So, there was a path for White here if he kept shooting like 43% and was scoring 20 points every game, but that faded about a month ago, and it's no knock on him. He'll be all defense and all that again this year, and maybe even a champion again. But he's not going to be an All-Star.
No, which is fine.
He might enjoy the time off.
Yeah, I think he will.
Since San Francisco, Jimmy, would you want to be there for All-Star?
San Fran. I went to San Fran for the first time last fall, and I actually enjoyed it. But I didn't go to any of the places. Like I only went to a few places because I was told.
I had a great time.
Told not to go to a lot of areas.
Yeah, the finals was great there a couple years ago. I went
Mhm.
to this for the following season where they got destroyed. The arena's awesome. A lot of great parts.
Out of all the cities, though, like I don't really need to go back. I don't need to go back.
No,
There's
but
other
I think I'm gonna
places.
stay in Oakland, Sherrod, for the
Yeah.
All-Star.
I like
'Cause,
Oakland.
they're doing some stuff over at the old Oracle Arena for the
Mhm.
Saturday night, I think, dunk contest and
Yeah.
all that. So I'm gonna check out that side because I didn't get over there, and I'm still punching myself for not getting to the A's game before they left, because the
Yeah.
Red Sox were actually out there during the finals, but they have left Oakland as well. So there's no teams left in Oakland.
Yeah. You want to see the A's? Got to go to Sacramento.
Yeah. Don't know how many people are gonna be doing that.
Nah.
We're gonna wrap it in a minute here, but we were talking about All-Stars, and we're looking at this list of guys here. And one guy that we kind of brushed over is Jimmy Butler in Miami. And
No.
no, I'm not. No. He doesn't get All-Star consideration.
Okay, just making sure we're on the same page. Okay.
Who's voting for him? These Heat fans might want their votes back.
I know that's the thing.
Is there a voting refund button that you can hit?
I don't think there's going to be many people voting for him for long because I'm going to read. There's some stuff going on right now on Twitter, and I think the Heat must have played tonight, right?
They got walloped by the Pacers.
Yeah.
They got walloped. Let's go take a look at Jimmy Butler's stat line today. 128 to 115. So let's see. Jimmy Butler tonight, 26 minutes, 9 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists. He took 6 shots.
Oh.
He went 3 of 6 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3. And he was a minus 27, which
It's
is
a wrap.
by far.
I'm done.
By far, the worst plus minus on his team tonight was Jimmy Butler. And
Jimmy Butler, the Miami Heat, deuces.
I'm going to read a quote from Butler after tonight's game. I'm just going to read it. This is off of Real GM. Quote, this is Jimmy Butler. Quote, I want to see me get my joy back from playing basketball, Butler said. And wherever that may be, we'll find out here pretty soon. I want to get my joy back. I'm happy here off the court, but I want to be back to someone dominant. I want to hoop and I want to help this team win. Right now, I'm not doing that. Butler was then asked if he could get his job back with the Heat. I don't know what that means.
Joy.
Joy. Okay, they wrote job. Butler was then asked if he could get his joy back with the Heat. Probably not, replied Butler. So basically a trade request there. For all intents.
Yeah, you can't say.
What is a trade request without saying I want to trade?
Yeah,
you can't say it anymore because you get fined. So that's how he says it.
He doesn't want a new team. He just wants joy back.
He wants joy back.
He wants joy back, and he can't find joy right now. He can't.
But
just trade him.
There might be joy in Sacramento. There might be joy in Houston. There might be joy,
And
Sacramento's an interesting one.
We actually did get a tweet from Shams. So that says Jimmy Butler has indicated to the Heat that he wants the team to trade him and is open to playing anywhere other than Miami. Anywhere other than Miami.
Now, where's that going to be? Doesn't seem like Houston wants him.
No.
Golden State, a little too convoluted. I think that's the team, but doesn't seem. Now, if they keep falling apart, Jimmy, maybe they get desperate and make that kind of deal because they are not playing well right now either. But what are we talking about? One team, maybe 2, if Houston is interested along the periphery here? Because I don't think the Kings are going to trade Fox for him or, whatever else, DeRozan. Like, I don't think there's a deal there. Who else? Like the Nets don't want him yet. Maybe in free agency.
What did you say about Houston?
I think they make some sense, but they want to see what they can get done this year with the young guys, and I understand that.
Yeah. They're not a Jimmy Butler away from like getting to the conference finals or getting to the second round.
And then you have to sign them, and that cuts off other moves they can make down the line. They're waiting for Durant. I think that's pretty evident.
Some chats chiming in with some trade ideas. Jimmy for Van Fleet, Whitmore, and picks.
I had that one, yeah. I think that would make some sense, but they love Van Fleet.
Yeah.
Okay, somebody thinks OKC could get him. But again, you really want to. I mean, you can't just toss Jimmy Butler on a team.
Yeah,
and, expect it to go smoothly.
The idea of Jimmy Butler and Shea and Chad and
no, that's not happening.
That's not, and Sam Presti signing off on that. I don't see that.
Here's the tough part: you have to pay him.
This would be perfect for Noah's drama segment too. By the way,
you have to pay him a 2-year, $50+ million deal as he approaches 40 here. So I don't think any team's going to do that lately. Plus, he has a $50+ million player option for next year, I think. So, he can lock back into whatever team he's on. Now, if you're the Heat, can you just find an expiring salary to come back? Because I don't think at this point, with all the drama and him clearly being gone and this thing clearly being over, right? There's no way they can fix this.
Yeah.
You just want to get back maybe a pick and some expiring salary. Now, if you're Houston and you can get this done for a second rounder and Van Fleet,
you got to think
about it.
Yeah, I think you do.
A second rounder and Van Fleet. I mean,
that's pennies.
Yeah, that's not much.
That's not
How
much.
is Van Fleet doing this year?
He's okay.
Meh.
Doesn't shoot great. I can look it up.
I mean, he's supposed to be there to shoot great.
Yeah.
I liked him in Toronto a lot. I really did like Van Fleet a lot.
But then he got paid, and then everything changed.
Yeah.
He's shooting 37 from the field and 32 from 3.
Oof. Yeah. Then, if you're Houston, you probably take that gamble. But again, you're bringing in a guy like Butler who, remember what he was like on a young team in Minnesota? How'd that go? So it's kind of interesting. I mean, it's Butler's up there, in basketball years now, right? He's getting up there. Like you said, he's making a lot of money. He's had a falling out everywhere he's gone.
Yeah.
This is not just unique to Miami. This happened in Philly. This happened in Minnesota. This now happening in Miami. Where was he before that?
Chicago.
I mean, everywhere this guy goes, it does not end well. And now you're kind of at the point where, like, is the juice worth the squeeze? You might put up with it if you're 27-year-old Butler or 30-year-old Butler, but like I said, I mean,
you gotta be desperate.
You got to be one of those. You got to be one of those teams that it's worth taking the risk, I guess, right? I mean, if you're a well-established team, I just don't know how you would do it. And is Jimmy Butler going to be on the same page as the GM or the coach in terms of what his role is going to be and his usage and his playing time and whether he gets the ball enough or whatever it is,
What do you think?
He just wants to find his joy. He just wants his joy back.
He just wants his joy. I wonder if he can find his joy again. How about making your own joy? How about that? Sometimes you got to just dig deep and make your own joy.
Or here's the thought. How about having joy for the teammates around you? How about giving them some joy? How's that?
Well, to say that you don't have joy right now and you're living Jimmy Butler's life is quite the statement, man. I mean, damn.
I wish I had such little joy in my life.
I don't think there's that many people feeling bad for him right now. That
he also said he's feeling good off the court, Jimmy.
Yeah, exactly. So
I just don't have joy on the basketball court.
Yeah, on the basketball court, which happens fast, I guess, right? Because it wasn't too long ago where he was, killing the Celtics.
Ago.
Yeah,
they beat you. Yeah.
This is pretty. Jimmy only cares about Jimmy since year one never changed. So, anyways, that's what's going on with the Heat. And I guess a sorry state for the Heat.
We're probably talking about less than a week here, right? Like this is gonna happen fast. I don't think they let this continue.
Yeah,
it's barely a part of the team.
This accelerates things a little bit, I think, today.
Yeah. The Heat
Unless
right now,
there's no suitors, which would be crazy.
I mean, you've got the Heat in the 6th. It's just crazy. The Heat are in the 6th spot. They're 17-15. Obviously, they aren't, considered a top dog in the East, but he's acting like they're a basement dwelling.
He acts like
he wants a contract, Jimmy. It has nothing to do with how good the team is. If they gave him a contract today, Jimmy would be right back.
But sure, and that's, I guess, the unfortunate reality of things. But it just sucks that I guess that takes precedence over, like Sherrod said, the teammates, the betterment of the team, the fans, the organization, everything that they've stuck around you with, and just because you didn't get an extension soon enough, that you're going to sabotage the whole season for everybody on your team.
Yep.
I mean, it sucks, but honestly, it's why some people don't like the NBA. They feel like this happens too often with players demanding trades, whether it's mid-year, whether it's in the off season, taking it upon themselves to sort of create their own paths here. It happens more in the NBA than in any other sport. That's a reality. It doesn't happen rarely happens in football. You rarely even see trades happen in football. Doesn't happen in baseball. Guys just get paid in baseball anyway. So it is what it is there, but you're just not seeing the players have so much control. And I think that's what turns off a lot of casual fans, sports fans. I think that they see what goes on and they say, you know what? I want to follow a sport that, maybe there's a little bit more loyalty on. And I'm not saying that players should just fall in line and never have a voice. And I know that there's been situations where the organization has screwed over players. So I get it from one aspect, but for Jimmy Butler, he's taking it too far, in my opinion. And I think that just puts a black mark on the league.
Yeah, he probably looks at it and says, I took them to 2 finals. I've been great. I deserve an extension. So I think that's his standpoint there. And this is the only way out. If you want out, you got to make it messy. Because if he fell in line and played great, he wouldn't be out of there. So that's just how this goes. And I think they're at a point. Obviously, you had the Pat Riley comments over the summer where he called out Butler for what he said about the Celtics and Heat and Knicks series, where if I was there, we would have won, blah, 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 blah. It was really startling comments from Riley saying that if you're not there, you shut your mouth.
Yeah, shut up, right? Yeah, basically.
So, yeah, I think things ended there. And again, he wants to go. I don't think they want
Nick
him there
says
anymore.
he got paid, Bobby. He's already been paid. He needs to be paid
but
more.
It's up after this year. There's a player option. So that's where you got into, all right, do you move him over last offseason? And that didn't work. And again, does anyone want him now? It's crazy to think, but the answer might be no. And so that would be what makes this what has this at a standstill right now, because they obviously floated that they were waiting for offers, listening for offers on him a couple weeks ago, Jimmy. So I think that's where this really started to spiral is, they put that out there and the agent got pissed and then Jimmy came back and did what he did here. And he pretty much said he preferred to trade out of there, last week. And then the Heat said, we're not trading you this year. So I think that is what caused what we saw the last 2 games here was Pat Riley saying, you're staying here for the year. We'll figure out this after the year. And that might be what ends up happening here. So
yeah. Well, another one bites the dust.
Who can push the Celtics? We're not talking about a big number of teams here.
They're dropping like flies. You get the Cavs, the Knicks, the Magic if they can get healthy.
Bucks maybe.
The Bucks, Indy maybe. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm just thinking out east.
Very
right
short list.
West, but that's Miami's problem. Boston's feeling pretty good right now after a win against Minnesota. They are in not a lot of time to think about this win. Move on to the next one. They go to Houston, which be a fun one.
It's a long flight. They might still be in the air.
Yeah, get to see old friend Ime. I don't know if tomorrow is going to be a quote-unquote schedule loss, as some people like to call it. Lack of sleep, lack of rest, back-to-back against an up-and-coming, fast, physical team.
It'll be a good game.
It should win. It'll be a good game. I'd be interested to see
Could be a rock fight.
It all plays out.
If Kristaps is there, that'll help a lot.
Facts, my dog. We're going to head out of here, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. For Sherrod, for Bobby, I am Jimmy. John Zanis comes out of retirement tomorrow. He will be here. Noah's in Houston. We'll have you guys covered after this game. So jump on with us on a Friday edition of the Garden Report. Amit, hit me with the outro.
No one's sneaking a vegan brownie by me, I'll tell you that.
Okay, you know what, John? We're going to do it.
You have to feel that way too, Bobby.
I have to feel that way? Let's slide Al over and make Luke your first center.
Bobby, we gave you Luke an hour early. We're not going to end this on a damn conversation about Luke